studies like the 2018 article in volume 142 of the Journal of Pediatrics that found that transgender children 12 years of age and younger who were given access to care, including support of social transition, hormone blockers, and replacements only after the onset of puberty, experienced similar rates of depression and anxiety to their cisgender peers. Meanwhile, 36% of those 7 to 12 who didn't have supportive care already met criteria for anxiety and depressive disorders with a high risk of suicidality. Our community faces high risk not because we're trans, but because of sentiments like far too many of our General Assembly are pushing. According to the 2015 U.S. Trans Survey, more than 40% of trans Americans attempt suicide in their lifetime, 9 times higher than the general population rate of approximately 4.6%. 7% attempt a year, nearly 12 times higher than the general population rate of 0.6%. The top cited reasons are rejection from loved ones, societal hate, and a lack of support and a lack of access to care. You've heard from some of our General Assembly members that have claimed that trans and non-binary are new concepts. They've claimed that the research is sparse. They've claimed there is no evidence that there is harm for minors denied access to gender-affirming care. In reality, trans and non-binary people have existed as long as we've had records of people. The difference now is that we've stopped hiding in the shadows. We have research readily available going back to the first modern trans clinic, the Institute for Sexual Wissenschaft, established in Berlin, Germany in 1919. And in fact, we'd have a lot more research if that specific clinic hadn't been burned by Nazis on May 6th of 1933, where they held similar sentiments to what we're hearing now, that it was to protect the children. It was not about the children then, and it's not about protecting children now. Studies from multiple specialties across multiple countries affirm a substantial increased risk of suicide in gender questioning, genderqueer, and trans youth who are not provided with gender supportive care. For those of you concerned about what if they get it wrong, we hear you. There are already processes in place to screen for that, and they are lengthy and in-depth, and they are already traumatic. No minor is walking into a medical office in Kentucky and walking out with blockers and hormones. I wasn't even able to do that, and I am almost 30. This so-called family foundation peddling bills like SB 150 and bills similar to it across the country are working on the blatantly false notion that 12-year-olds are having surgery. That is not happening in the state of Kentucky, and this bill reaches so far beyond that. They call it irreversible damage, but forcing someone to go through puberty that's incongruent with their mind is traumatic and in many ways irreversible. My first memory of saying I was not a boy or a girl was at 8 years old, where I was met with pushback. A lot of people in Kentucky had no clue what trans was back then, let alone non-binary. When I started puberty, my brain had alarm bells going off. I can remember my parents finding me sobbing on my bedroom floor about my development. I started by self-harming, and by 16, I believed no one would ever understand me. And I will not forget the night my parents took me to the hospital for an evaluation. I was trying to end my life. I fully believe that if I had had access to gender-affirming care as a minor, that wouldn't have happened, because my suicidal ideation has exponentially decreased since coming out and beginning this care as an adult. No healthcare professional, myself included, and no trans person, myself included, wants to convince any child who is not trans that they are trans. What we don't want is the trans youth in this Commonwealth facing the feelings of worthlessness, loss of hope, and isolation that can and will lead to suicide attempts like I faced at 16. While lobbyists are pushing a narrative of irreversible damage without being able to present a single Kentucky resident who has received this negligent medical care, think of the irreversible joy we could see if we supported this Commonwealth youth for who they are, however that may be. For the trans, queer, and questioning Kentucky youth who can hear my voice right now, I want you to know, whatever happens with SB 150, we are not giving up on you. Yeah! queer and trans adults fighting for our rights when I was younger is a big reason that I am still here. I feel comfortable speaking for both the mental health professionals and the queer and trans adults in this Commonwealth when I say, we love you, we need you, you are important, you matter, each and every one of you. And in case you haven't heard, we are done being erased. If you guys could stand up and say it with me. We are done being erased. Done being erased. Done being erased. Done being erased. Done being erased.
I didn't know if we were continuing. Let's do it one more time. Done being erased. All right. Now the next thing that I want to talk about is I've been in charge of getting speakers up here and getting them to speak, obviously. And one of the things that I've realized is these bills are making it very hard for a lot of kids to raise their voice. And I want to take a moment to put my heart out there for all of the kids that are scared to stand up. Because that's what this is doing. This is making kids scared to get up there, scared to do things that they love, all because they want to be who they are. And so now, for the rest of this rally, we're going to be reading anonymous messages that we have received. And these anonymous messages that I have gotten and I have had to go through and read, I've cried a couple times. It's really sad. So, I'm going to have Africa come up here and help me, and she's going to get started with a couple anonymous messages that we received from our school, and then we're going to move forward.
We created a Google form that asked multiple questions. The first question that was asked was, how will Senate Bill 150 affect you and others around you? One person said, it would make many students who are maybe not open with what pronouns they prefer or what they identify as unsafe. Many do not tell their ones at home because the people at home are often against it and put them in harm's way. Another student's response was, my transition saved my life. Not being misgendered constantly has kept me from considering suicide. It has also done this for many of my transgender friends/peers. Not having that anymore will lead many transgender youth to commit suicide. Senate Bill 150 would affect my non-cisgender peers around me by causing them gender dysphoria, which has the symptoms of stress and such. These negative feelings would impact their personal and educational life by dismotivating them. Another student's response was, it will affect me because I am a trans person who is not out to my parents, and I don't know if they would respond kindly. Another person also said, it affects me and my peers because it takes away our rights to privacy. Most of the students will be affected mentally by not being able to come out on their own. The next question that we asked was, if you could speak to a government official, what would you say to them? One student would say, what I chose to identify and define myself as is my choice, and who I choose to inform is just as well my choice. I should not have any adult, especially in a school building meant for educating us on school-related topics, tell anyone information that I don't want to be told or feel unsafe doing so. By approving this, you are putting hundreds of children in harm's way. So please choose wisely and realize how much your vote affects us and the future generations to come. Another student said, taking away a person's identity and forcing them to be treated one way isn't right in any way, shape, or form. Senate Bill 150 has zero positive outcome. It will only cause more issues for the students. Students who don't tell their parents these things have their reasons, and it's not right for the education system to take away the choice from them. Outing them in this manner will only bring pain to them, and there's some students who simply can't take it. Another student's response was that they are putting LGBTQIA+ at danger and backing children into a corner and making them question if they should still be alive. Another student said, students are already packed with stress. It is not difficult to respect one's pronouns. The little things could change a whole student's feelings. You say mental health is important, but support enduring transgender mental health just because they identify different than you. Another student said, school used to be people's safe place. Kids that don't have safe home lives used to be able to seek refuge and have peace at school. What happened? Why are we taking away children's basic human rights to their identities? Why can't we be free anymore? Another student said, there is some confidentiality between yourself and the teacher. Sometimes the teacher is the only thing a student might have to a safe space to express such feelings without getting verbally harassed or physically harassed. Think about it like this. If you were to have said something super secret to a friend that you really trust and they have to tell the people you're afraid of telling, would you feel great about being on the other side? So don't pass this bill. This will affect more lives and worsen them more than you think. Thank you for your time. The last question that we asked was, do you have any other comments or statements? And somebody said, I'm scared of losing the ones I love because of the bill, including my boyfriend. Thank you for your time.
All right, now I will read some anonymous statements from Atherton High School. Hello, thank you. These are from Atherton High School. I am a freshman at Atherton High. I came out as transgender in 2017 while I was in 4th grade in Boyd County. My elementary school didn't have any adaptations for a trans student, which left me isolated on more than one occasion. There were mandatory bathroom breaks and no gender-neutral bathrooms available to students twice a day, and gendered lunch seating to prevent any intimacy. Due to both of these gendered separated times of my day, I got singled out. To top that off, I would be bullied by other students, and teachers wouldn't, even when prompted, do anything to stop and would regularly dead name and misgender me. While I had a supporting family, I know many don't. I struggled a lot for the first few years after my transition, before I had a stable home in school life. With all of that considered, I couldn't imagine having to worry about it being illegal to be myself. I am pleading that you do everything in your personal power to prevent kids from having to watch their world fall apart in front of them because they thought they would be supported in who they are by those closest to them, or those that have to watch their families grow to hate them because their teacher becomes legally obligated to tell their parents that they have a gay or trans kid regardless of safety concerns. If we are supposed to be living in America, the land of the free, then why am I not free to be me? Another student said, I found out that I was trans back in the summer of 8th grade. I first came out to my best friend. I held off telling my parents due to being scared of their reactions. After telling my parents, I told my therapist. He would often ask me questions about why I felt the way I did. This went on for some while. I later found out that my therapist at the time just told my parents that the way I was feeling was a phase. I often found myself listening to a song called The Village by Rabble. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I would find myself crying to this song. There was a part of the song that hit me the most. No, your mom don't get it, and your dad don't get it. Uncle John don't get it, and you can't tell Grandma, because her heart can't take it, and she might not make it. They say, sorry, don't dare, don't you even go there. Cutting off your long hair, you do as you're told. Tell you, wake up, go put on your makeup. This is just a phase you're gonna outgrow. This part hit me hard because I felt like I had no one to go to, no one who would understand. I felt like I was wrong, that what I was doing wasn't okay, that I wasn't normal. For the longest time, I never said anything more because I didn't like the fact that my parents thought that it was just a phase that I would outgrow. It hurt because to me, it felt as though they didn't believe me. I went through times where I thought that maybe I should just accept the fact that I was born a female, that I shouldn't try to push how I identified. Oftentimes, I had thought of just ending it all. I had thought that it would be the easiest thing to do if I ended it all. I wouldn't have to constantly try to tell people that I wasn't going through a phase, that there wasn't anything wrong with me, that I wasn't doing this for attention. It got better, my parents came around. They made some changes here and there, but I know that they make some mistakes here and there, but I know that they're trying. But on October 20th, 2022, things changed. I got overstressed, and after someone made a comment to me, I tried to kill myself. Their comment made me come to terms with reality. They said, "You know, even if you get all these surgeries, you'll never be an actual guy. You weren't born a male, and you'll just have to live with that knowledge."
Bullshit! Bullshit!
I came home that night frustrated and irritated. I was hurt. I didn't want my parents to know. Memories with what I had to go through just to be accepted by people I loved and cared about came rushing back to me. All those doubts and insecurities hit me. I had never been more emotionally damaged than I was right then, so I tried to kill myself. I was done living like that. I was done letting people tell me what was right and what was wrong. I was done with people not believing me. I just wanted it all to end. This is what happened to me, but this could be a huge factor in someone else's life. This could be the choice that decides whether or not someone will stay on this earth on this day next year. So please think hard about your decisions. I've had to go through so much heartache and struggle. Please do not do this to someone else. Give me one second. I'm sorry, guys. The idea of writing something is terrifying enough without it being about myself. I struggle to put in words what I think about a lot of different subjects. I think it's stupid to mandate how young people are allowed to express themselves. If my mom's high school best friend went by his favorite goth-sounding name, my best friends can go by whatever three-letter names they dig out of the ground. And of course, treatment saves lives. My trans siblings have both struggled with their mental health for a long, long time, and gender was only part of it. One of them is almost 18 now, and he's been on testosterone for a couple months, I think. He's got a mustache growing in, and his voice is puberty scratchy, and he's been doing so much better than he has been for years before. Starting T was only part of that, but it was part of it. He's more comfortable in his own skin, more confident in himself, and even though his teachers and classmates continue to deny who he is, he's surviving. He's doing better than my other sibling, who barely talks and hates to touch, and has told me before how much they want to die. That is not, never could be, the fault of their gender. It doesn't affect how they view their sex. I've never had a teacher tell me I was trans. No one has ever told me that my gender is queer or that I am not straight, except that one kid at the start of 7th grade who suggested I'm queer because I didn't know who I liked. I've never checked a queer book out from a school library. I've never been forced by a teacher to wear a skirt. I have been told that I am a girl. I have read books that told me every girl loves boys. Every girl will be a woman. I have heard from my siblings that you can walk in a class with a trans flag on your face and still be called something you are not. It's difficult to talk about subjects like these when I myself only have limited experience. The only person who has insisted to my face that I am lying about myself is my dad. I've been lucky enough to attend schools where no one beats me and only one person who calls me a fag, yeah, just touchy word there, is my best friend, my ex, with a grin on her face. The only people who see a trans student's genitals are the students themselves and a stranger peeping through a stall. The only person who's told me that they were bothered by a person of another sex in the bathroom was a cis boy in the girls' room complaining about a trans girl. It's really hard to find a penis in the girls' room. I should know, I'm in there every single day. A friend who I sometimes call one of my kids was going to start puberty blockers soon. That meant their sex hormones would be released far less, delaying their puberty, not changing anything else. They're a freshman in high school. They're terrified to tell their dad that they're queer because he kicked out their sibling. They'd have to tell him to get blockers because both parents need to sign. So the idea that they'd start was a very high hope, but now they can't and they've put all this weight on the possibility. The court case to change custody to 80-20 didn't go through. They have few friends, fewer at school. I think they're still in class with people who sexually assaulted them in middle school, calling them gay and a girl and telling them that they wanted it. My phone just went off. One of my favorite exes is a newly out trans woman whose dad continues to deny her gender. He rejected her sexuality over and over, and she brought home boys and screwed them over. She's messed up, and most students our age hate her, but at least when people hate her here, they have the decency to call her human. She's extremely stressed out because from what she's seen, the signs are pointing towards genocide. She's been planning to move out of the state for years, but she's worried she'll have to move out of the country, and I can't say anything because nothing I do will tell her that that's not true. We can't know what people will do next, and we can't even tell them our names. 1 second, guys. Sorry guys, we lost Kinsey for a second. We're gonna go find her. So we have about 7 minutes left, and I want to take the final moments of this rally, whether you choose to stay or not. We're out of here at 7 minutes. I want to chant something. Now, I don't know many chants, so if anyone has any that they want to do, please start one.
We're no fear!
No fear! We are queer! 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 No fear! I found Kinsey, guys! Closing statements. Oh, closing statements. Like I said in the beginning, I just want to thank everyone for. This is our closing statements from Maddie. Thank you for that. I just want to thank everyone again and again and again. There are no words that I can say that can begin to amount to how thankful I am that everybody showed up and supported us. You know, this wouldn't have been a thing if you all didn't reach out to others and share that the rally was this big. You know, when I showed up, I didn't expect for there to be. How many people do you think are here?
A lot!
A lot? Yeah.
How many people does it sound like?
A lot. You know, we only expected about, maybe 150 people to be here, so for there to be